Science discovers the perfect formula for hugging. At a time in history when we could all use a good hug, researchers have just advanced the science of the ideal snuggle. Hugging is known to have myriad emotional and health benefits, but will any old hug do? The highest performing hugs have three components. Hugs are a universal human behavior. Even in cultures where hugging is not common among adults, we all hug our children. It feels like common sense to hug our kids, but that wasn't always true. As recently as the 1970s and 80s, parents in the US were still being instructed by doctors to avoid holding babies too much. Letting babies cry by themselves for up to an hour during the afternoon fussy period was thought by many to help them develop self-regulation skills. Fortunately, no one thinks that anymore. Science has proven repeatedly that mothers and babies benefit from skin-to-skin hugging for months after birth. And it's not just babies who feel better when they have a hug, we all do. How do we give the perfect hug? Try a hug. Hold on tight, but not too tight, until you relax and grow your bond. Hold on tight. A hug is more than a simple snuggle, because hugging involves a squeeze. When we squeeze each other, we provide deep pressure. Deep pressure is detected by receptors and sends a signal of safety to the autonomic nervous system. This turns down the anxiety we feel from activation of the sympathetic nerve, otherwise known as the fight-or-flight response. The study of deep pressure as a calming mechanism was first inspired by Temple Grandin's hug machine. Grandin, who had high-functioning autism, observed that cattle calmed down in squeeze chutes on the ranch where she worked. She decided to try it herself and built a hug machine in 1965 when she was 18. This sparked a great deal of research on the use of deep pressure for those with autism, anxiety, or ADHD. But it didn't take long to recognize that even neurotypical adults felt more relaxed after a session in the hug machine. That's because deep pressure also turns up the calm and connected response from the vagus nerve. It's something we can measure by looking at levels of the stress hormone cortisol. In one study, children had lower salivary cortisol levels, the stress hormone, after receiving deep pressure therapy. Does how hard we squeeze matter? According to an exciting new paper from Toho University in Japan, it definitely does. These scientists actually quantified the level of squeeze by subjecting babies to different hugs levels and measuring the calming effect. Holding the babies loosely did calm them, but only a little. However, when hugged with a medium squeeze, the babies calmed way down. As soon as the hug got too tight, that calming effect started to go away. The study concluded that the best hugs provide medium pressure until you feel relaxed. Hugs are not only about deep pressure. When two humans embrace, they release a hormone called oxytocin. Often referred to as the bonding hormone, it makes us feel wonderful. When oxytocin is released, it stimulates the exact opposite of stress, calming us down and turning up our social processes. The benefits of hugging and oxytocin are so powerful that it's been shown to help prevent postpartum depression in mothers, lower salivary cortisol levels in infants and lead to less crying, increase positive communication during conflict for adult couples, and help adults feel less anxious before public speaking. So how long does a hug have to last to release oxytocin? According to the internet, the answer is 20 seconds. When I attempted to trace that claim to a scientific study, I was unable to find one. But I did stumble upon one study that I can only imagine led its researchers to a lot of giggles and high fives. This was a study in which researchers recruited 404 healthy adults and monitored how often they were hugged. Then they quarantined the participants and intentionally infected them with a cold virus. Those who received more frequent hugs had less severe illnesses. In the end, the exact timing of a hug may not matter so much as whether we feel the effects of oxytocin. A hug should continue until each person feels the relaxation effect. Grow the bond. By releasing oxytocin, hugging deepens our bond with other people. But do we really want to bond with everyone? Some people don't like hugging at all, and even those who are huggers are selective about who they embrace. The researchers from Japan were curious about whether babies care who gives them their hugs. They measured how calming the hugs were by watching the babies' heart rates. In the first few months of life, babies calmed equally well with hugs from their parents or from strangers. But once they were between the ages of 4 and 12 months, babies' heart rates decreased more when they were hugged by their own parents. In your own search for the ideal embrace, hold on tight, but not too tight, until you feel relaxed and grow the bond with someone you trust. Why does a hug feel so good? Research suggests touch has a positive impact on mental health and development. At the times in my life that I've been upset or angry, a good hug was usually a very quick remedy for what was ailing me. After receiving a warm and genuine embrace from a loved one or friend, the tension in my body would melt almost immediately. While my problem did not change in that brief moment, my reaction to it did. I have witnessed the same in others, and I guess that you have also. Imagine that someone close to you is giving you a nice hug. Can you feel the relaxation wash over you? It's probably why anyone with the signs saying free hugs often gets a lot of business. Most people know that hugs are a great antidote to stress. How does a hug deliver such a remarkable effect so quickly? Touch is a powerful means of communication. Through touch, another's intention is readily discernible, comforting or helpful versus antagonistic and potentially harmful. In the positive, prosocial mode, hugs are one type of touch that relays the message, "I care about you. You matter." Even, perhaps, for opposing tennis players at the US Open. We require touch with other living beings to flourish. The importance of physical contact was painfully observed in the orphanages of Romania. Children who were provided food but not held or hugged had significant developmental and socio-emotional delay accompanied by smaller brains. This means that physical contact is not only critical for how these children behaved, but for the development of the brain itself, something that has also been observed in animals subjected to social isolation. In people subjected to less extreme circumstances, touch affects the response to everyday conflict. Murphy and colleagues interviewed 404 adults daily for 14 days regarding their health, conflicts, how they felt emotionally, positive or negative, and whether or not they received a hug. People who had received a hug and had an interpersonal conflict reported feeling more positive with less severe negative reactions on that day. They also showed not evidence that hugging may favorably influence the rate of infection from a cold as well as its symptoms. As hugs are a great way to relieve the response to stress, it is not surprising that the number of hugs that a woman receives from her partner is highly related to lower blood pressure as well as higher levels of hormones known as oxytocin, colloquially labeled the love hormone. Hugs, of course, are a form of touch that share elements with other types of touch, such as massage, as well as gentle, light touch. Like hugging, massage is a great way to release tension. Massage has been shown to decrease pain in a variety of conditions, especially pain associated with cancer, back pain, migraines, and more. It affects the biochemistry that mediates pain or sadness and can also lower blood pressure, reduce cortisol, improve immune responses, stimulate the vagus nerve, and change EEG, brain wave patterns. In preterm, premature babies, light massage for 15 minutes over the course of 1 week caused a significant increase in weight gain. Complementary to the studies of Romanian orphans, it is remarkable that massage helps babies grow, perhaps by changing their metabolism. Taken together, it is clear that being touched in a loving and caring way not only decreases stress, but also helps nourish the recipient and helps them heal, recover, and grow. Physiologically, we observe activation of specific neuronal and hormonal mechanisms that decrease pain, lower blood pressure, and other markers of stress, and better physical and mental health. Nature gave us this remarkable ability to help and heal one another. The challenge is that social custom and fear of inappropriate contact and litigation have decreased our interaction through touching. In a 1999 study of preschool children from Miami and Paris, Field noted that French parents affectionately touched their children much more than American parents. Associated with this tactile difference, American children showed more aggressive behavior than the French kids. The discouragement of interpersonal touch is understandably heightened by the inappropriate actions or reactions of either the giver or receiver, especially in a highly sensitive and litigious society that rightly has concerns about consent and intent. Despite clear benefits of comforting touch, however, teachers, doctors, and many others have been admonished to be very careful about whom and how they touch someone else. There are creative ways to satisfy the need to be touched. Entrepreneurial professional coddlers have opened up shop in different cities, offering a variety of non-sexual ways to be held, and with pop-up events in different locations. And, as expected, there are tech-based solutions, such as a hugging vest, a chair that hugs its occupant, as well as pillows that hug and also communicate with your smartphone. Japanese efforts are particularly notable in the tech approach, perhaps related to the degree of stress reported in Japan. A complementary approach may be to allow people to see hugging or touching in a gentle way. Scientists found that when people simply see images of other people hugging, they exhibited significant changes. The larger brain wave changes correlated with people who had greater empathic responses to the images. This work is consistent with Envision Kindness's own research that images of kindness and compassion, many of which capture caring touch or hugging, are a proven and potent way to induce joy, love, optimism, and connection. Thus, by simply looking at these images, people can experience lower stress and greater joy. Viewing these images should be rounded out by the real thing whenever possible. So here's a challenge for you. Begin a regular practice of hugging others. Start with people you are comfortable with, friends and family. Try to give at least one each day. You don't have to wait for National Hug Day, January 21, to do this. And as you feel comfortable and the situation warrants it, consider extending yourself. A hug is a gift to someone else. And remember, giving to someone else is also a gift to you. Thanks for watching. For more help, touch the links below. Feel free to subscribe for further assistance.